Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be making sourdough pizzas on the big green egg. First things first, we got to make the dough. This is Anthony Falco's Neapolitan-ish recipe. You can YouTube Anthony Falco Neapolitan-ish. I'll try and put a link in there. Or Instagram Millennium Falco. He's an international pizza consultant. He's got all kinds of amazing recipes. So I'm going to do my best at making his recipe right now, and then I'm going to show you how to cook it on the big green egg. So first things first, 500 grams flour. So I'm using King Arthur Sir Galahad artisan flour. Started getting this because I got into sourdough during quarantine and couldn't find any flour at the stores besides bleached, really cheap stuff that wouldn't work for this. So I started ordering 50-pound bags from Baker's Authority, and it's been great. I never have to go to the store for flour. Have plenty of flour for feeding my starter every day, etc. So this is 100% King Arthur. I think Anthony Falco calls for some more local sort of flour in his recipe, but I get by just fine with this. So we're going to do 500 grams flour, 315 grams water, 75 grams starter, 15 grams salt, and 10 grams oil. So first things first, we'll do the dries, the flour and the salt, and mix those together now. So I'm going to take this, mix it together, just mix the salt into the flour, and I'm going to create a little well right here. Now on to the liquids. We'll do the water, starter, and oil. So 315. Alright, so now I'm going to put 75 grams of starter in here. In order to know if your starter is active, you can do the float test. So when I put this starter in there, it should float. And if it doesn't, that means it's not active and it's probably not going to make you the best bread. And there we are, 76 grams. It passes the float test. So what I'm going to do is mix this up with one hand. Always just use one hand so that you can have a free hand for your phone or coffee or whatever it is that you need. Anthony Falco taught me that in his YouTube video, and it's invaluable advice because you will go crazy if both your hands are covered in flour and your phone starts ringing, or you want to take a drink of water, etc. So mix this up. Now I'm just going to pour it into that well and mix this together until all the flour and the water are mixed together. Alright, so don't see any flour, don't see any water. It looks like it's all absorbed together. It's not going to be pretty at this point. It's pretty messy, but I'm just going to put a cover on it, and this needs to wait for about 30 minutes at least. And then we'll come back and shape it into a ball. All right, so it's been 30 minutes, actually 40 minutes. And what I'm gonna do is pick this messy blob up and do my best to put it into a nice ball for the bulk fermentation process. So I like using a scraper on this and kind of getting it off of the sides a bit before I pick it up. Try not to put your whole hand on it. I'm not the best at that, but so kind of fold it onto itself like this. And there we have it. I think that's good enough for me. So this will sit, this is the bulk fermentation period. This will sit for 1 to 3 hours. It should grow, and then we will break it up into pizza ball. All right, so now we take the ball. You see it's kind of spread out a little bit. We'll take this, plop it down right here, put it into 4 pizza balls, and just need to flour up the pans. And I like to keep 2 balls per pan so they have some room in between them. It's a little easier to get it out. I know you don't have to do that. You could probably put 4 in here. Just might be a little more difficult getting them out. And I just take a drop of oil and put it on my hands and put it on the scraper. All right, 215. So what I do now is I keep the floured side down and kind of cup it over until it's a nice tight dough ball. All right, so put some tinfoil or some plastic wrap on here. Then I'll put this top on, and these are going to sit out for 6 to 9 hours, after which we'll put these in the fridge, and they can sit in the fridge for anywhere from 24 hours to I think up to a week. I've only ever done it 72-hour dough, so it sat in the fridge for 3 days, and it gets tastier, but it is harder to deal with after the longer it waits in the fridge. So we'll probably do 48 and 72-hour pizzas this week. All right, it's grill time. So as you can see, I've got a lot of coals in here. I use the Kick Ash basket. It's easier to clean out. You can just Google Kick Ash basket. Just makes it a little easier to clean this thing out every time. So it's filled up to the brim. That's so I can get it really hot and just not worry about it running out of coals in the middle of my cook. I've got the big green egg starter just under the top coals, and I've got my cord set up right here. So I'm gonna plug this in, wait 5 minutes, and then it should be good to go. I'll grab the pizza Porta and put that on and set up the egg. The pizza dough I took out about an hour and a half ago. Right now it's 6:59, so yeah, I took it out at about 5:30. So I'll be cooking it at about 7:30 if all goes to plan. And I will see you in 5 minutes. All right, so now we're cooking. I'm gonna let this sit for just a few more seconds. There's a few little flames coming up. That should be all we need to get started. I'm in no rush. So let it burn for a second. Then I'm gonna unplug this and make sure we put this thing in a safe spot. Highly recommend putting on gloves before touching this really sharp aluminum thing. But we're going to be using the pizza Porta today, and it's a pretty amazing device. First things first, put in the dome setter. Then I put in the steel grate. Then the pizza Porta, and I've actually got some grooves on the inside of the egg right where it sits. There's a membrane between the two layers, and it gets so hot when I heat pizzas up. I've got two little grooves there, so I know it's when it's set, and I just like to push it down a little bit on the back. Make sure it's sealed all the way around, and open the top. Make sure the bottom's open, and then we wait until it gets to 500 degrees. And once it's at 500, put the top on. We'll open these vents on the side, and then we'll let it heat up. Right, so we're at 510. I'm a little late. First things first, put on the glove because this thing is hot. And find the top. Put the top on. Open the sides. And then it should kick back a little bit, and then it'll come back up. Once it gets up to 700, then we're good to start putting the pies on. Put some flour on here. The grill's at 600 degrees, so we're good to go there. I actually forgot to put on the pizza stone, so if you notice in the video I do everything except the pizza stone, so I gave it another 10 minutes to make sure that's heated up. But I'm putting some flour in here, just a little flour on the wooden peel, and I am by no means an expert, and I'm getting better at this process every time. Put this on top. And I like to flip this over per Anthony Falco's YouTube video, put a little bit of flour on the bottom so that it doesn't stick. And now you don't want to touch the sides. You can't touch the crust. So you want to make a clear indentation at the crust all the way around. That's the first step. Now, can't throw it yet. I'll get there one day. Take too much time on these pizzas to be throwing my dough around just yet. But I do let it stretch. And this tomato sauce is way too thick. Tried a new recipe. We'll try that again. And just try and spread the cheese out evenly. And what you want to do is put the cheese on the edge. Put the cheese on the edge so that the inside of the pizza stays flat. You need those toppings to make sure it's sliding. So when pulling out pizzas, I like to use the metal spatula. It's easier to get under. And when setting them in, I use the wooden spatula. It's easier to slide on. This one should be done. Overdone.